Hello everyone and welcome to a new season on a new game. This is the AOR PC GT3 Elite League. Not on Project Cars, it's on Project Cars 2. It's a new era for the AOR GT3 leagues. Finally, we have a new game, lots of new cars, lots of new drivers. Season 8 overall in AOR, but as I mentioned, this first season on the new game. I am Fizzy, and I'll be taking you through all the action here today from the first round, along with the lovely man of King Kodiak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. Welcome to this opening round here at the Internazionale Enzo Gino Ferrari of Imola. Didn't get that quite right, but it was close enough. We have 26 drivers, a full grid. I think we have one reserve in the Colonel McCoy that wasn't able to join us for this opening round. So Rigor, speaking of which, there he is, has come to join us. I've been having a look through the field, and I am very, very glad to announce that we have got a very, very diverse field of cars out there. Not everyone jumped in the Ferrari, which was an early concern during the evaluation phases of Project Cars 2, but we have got Mercedes, Porsche, we have got some Ferraris out there, but it is a decent mixture of cars out there, and I'm very glad to see it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think there are 14 different GT3 cars in this game, so that's a higher number, of course. They've added some cars since... they've taken a few out since Project Cars 1, but they've added even more than they've taken out. So, as far as I could see, 8 of those 14 cars are represented here in the league. So still, you know, there's still a few cars missing from the grid, but 8 cars, decent variety, and as you said, there's been some concerns before the season that the Ferrari was going to be a little bit overpowered, but 7 drivers, it could have been worse, I guess, on that.
Well, the top spot was a Ferrari. Oops, as we just saw.
There was a Ferrari in the gravel.
Ferrari off into the gravel. This is just a practice session. You're seeing this is not the opening qualifying session, but it's interesting to see that it's a McLaren. It is this car here, Stu, that has the top spot. So we will see how that transpires. We have Stu, we have Jeff NL, a number of familiar names from Elite of seasons past. He is in the Mercedes. Vernax is in the yellow painted Ferrari. We have Morvik, who also rides a Ferrari. Is a red Hesto. That is a Mercedes. You can quite clearly see he is chasing one of the M6s, in fact. Classens, Mercedes-Benz. We have got Perry Gronstra, also in the German mark. Popsu, Ferrari. We have Nismo in the very tiger skin color Ferrari. That one. Rido 7105. Can't actually quite tell what car he's in. Let's see if we can get an idea.
Looked like a Ferrari.
It's a Ferrari.
Yes.
It is indeed. Mikas B, also Ferrari. We have got Zabzi. Now that's not a name I'm familiar with, so welcome to you. He's in an Audi. He's in one of the few R8s. Tipple. Can't see what is he in. He is in the BMW M6. Nope. That is an Audi of Maisie. That is crawling in the pit road.
Oh,
Andreas
love
Peter.
that. Love that livery. Just thought I'd point that out because a certain Giancarlo drives that in real life.
The Kaspersky Ferrari. Very nice. Ooh, that's
oh my God, what's going on there?
He wasn't Yorkie. Yorkie, the whole reason that I have the honor of commentating alongside the AOR god of Fizzy himself is because this man, Yorkie 065, is on the track. As you can see, he is in an M6. We have One Tire, who I have commentated on a few times before. He's in the Ferrari. Adrex, it's out there. He is in the M6. That I know from previous experience. Wycoms is joining us as well. He is in the Porsche.
Yeah.
Nick Mido is...
Yes!
The Lamborghini. Oh, the session has actually ended.
I'm very happy to see a Lamborghini. Just thought I'd point that out as well. I was really hoping for a Lamborghini in this league because it's just so beautiful to look at. And luckily there was one driver who saved us. Nick Mido, thank you.
I was going to go through the rest of the field, but as I say, that timer ran out before I got there. So we are now in a 15-minute qualifying session. And as you can hear from the exhaust spluttering, the noises are fabulous. Now, one of the major changes from Project Cars 1 over to Project Cars 2, it gives the second commentator a little bit more bearing, you could say. You may notice on a Fizzy screen there is very little in the way of camera control. That is because I am the race director. I have the camera control, which is why the cameras may well change completely outside of, well, they do change completely outside of physics control. We have everybody out on track at the moment. Now, one thing that I get a notification of is when there's cars close by one another. For instance, Hideaki here is within a few tenths of, it is the car behind. You know, in qualifying, we can't always tell. Whoops! Oh, he clunked the inside of Trigado a little bit too hard. Spun him around. He was well avoided there by the Mercedes behind. Now, unfortunately, in qualifying, we don't know which car is directly behind the one that we are viewing. The overview part, which is this element here, works properly in race trim, so we see the car that is directly behind the one that we are looking at. However, it does not function correctly in qualifying. It tends to look at times as opposed to track positions. So, for instance, I don't know who that yellow Ferrari ahead or the blue Mercedes behind is. However, as the season goes on, we will learn who is in which colour car, and then by the time I've gotten used to it, the season will probably end.
Yeah, that's a problem. It's worth pointing out as well, actually. It's a very short season for this first season of Project Cars 2. It's only going to be 6 races, just like it was back in the first season of Project Cars 1 as well a couple of years ago. Only 6 races, sort of just to test things out a little bit, you know, see how the game works with league racing, make sure everything, you know, we get, you know, information to balance things out better, I guess, in future seasons as well. So yeah, many have referred to season 8 as sort of a test season again, but of course for these drivers on track, it's going to be as competitive as ever. As you mentioned earlier, a lot of the drivers are experienced top drivers from previous seasons of AOR. A nice bunch of new drivers as well, who have shown themselves very quick in the time trials to qualify for Elite for this first season. And also worth pointing out that this is the top tier, of course, the Elite League of the PC structure. There are actually a record 4 league tiers on the PC for this season.
We have some times on the board then. Our current pole man is this man, Vernox, in one of the tiger-coloured Ferraris. Our second place man currently is Johan, a name I'm not familiar with, so the top 2 currently in Ferraris. Jeff is in third, just coming over the line. I think he's starting a new lap as opposed to finishing one. And I think the timeline's actually there where he's just crossed. It is indeed. So he's just been demoted actually by this man Stu. That's a McLaren. It can, in that red skin, as he flies off the road of Trigado, in that red livery, it can be mistaken for the Ferrari, but it's got a much deeper growl as opposed to the high traditional Ferrari scream. Oh, a new pole time, I believe. Johan has actually jumped onto the top of the timing list. 1:43.2, 0.02 of a second slower is Perry Gronstra in the Mercedes. So there we go.
Incredibly close.
Vernox now demoted to third in his yellow Ferrari. So yes, the Ferraris are close to the top of the board at the moment, but as we're seeing, the signs are rolling in and they're very, very, very close. Now, we have a new person that's jumped into third position. It is another new driver. It's Hesto here in that fetching blue Mercedes. So it is Ferrari, Mercedes, Mercedes, Ferrari is our top 4. And I think Audi is Maisie, if I remember correctly. It is. So we have 3 different marks in the top 5.
It's a nice mix there, to be honest. I'm a little bit surprised to see the Mercedes-Benz doing so well, considering, like you said, you know, the straights aren't too long here, and then I seem to remember from Project Cars 1 that the straight line speed was the main forte of that Mercedes SLS. So certainly Gronstra is doing very well, not so much for Maisie on that occasion. He is P6 in the session, but that lap has not gone well at all for him.
Oh, Perry Gronstra has just set the fastest lap. He has indeed in that glorious Mercedes.
I noticed, by the way, that Vernex went up to second, so he has improved. He's only 500 of Gronstra, who, by the way, has had an absolutely blistering time, 1:43 flat. It's I was wondering, coming into this, if we will see a lap time in the 1:42s, because if anyone does a lap time in the 1:42s, they can officially be classed as an alien, I think. It's fair to say. Gronstra, though, very close.
If anyone can do that, it's that man.
As Vernex has set the fastest lap, but it's not a 42, it is 200s ahead of Gronstra on a 43.040. Come on, 4 more hundreds, let's do it.
Unbelievable. Now, unfortunately, one disadvantage that, sadly, no game is ever perfect, that much we know. But sadly, one bug we are presented with as commentators that does affect potential positioning, and unfortunately this does affect two of our drivers in this session. It is Andrex in the M6 that we saw bouncing off the curbs, and someone's had an argument with the wall in one of the other M6s. And the other it affects is Wycombs in one of the few Porsches we have. Unfortunately, if they join the session after the session has begun, their times stay stuck at 0, and that actually means they set appropriate qualifying times, but unfortunately in the race they get stuck on lap 1. So we do not know what position they are in, and they get stuck at the bottom of our timing charts. We have less than a minute to go.
Vernix is in the garage. Come on, he was meant to do 42 for me.
And Perry Gronstra is on a lap. He's just gone through Trigado Tamburello. He's gone through. He's backed off.
He's parked it.
So he won't be doing it. This then falls to James, I think, who has a rearranged Ferrari as well. So just looking at the front of that guy. Yep, he's had an argument with the wall. Qualifying is now done. So if you're on your lap, you may finish it. James is going to struggle to beat his time with the damage on that Ferrari, but we'll try nonetheless.
That's not the way you take that chicane, but he's clearly bought that. James, yeah, he's the highest placed driver in the session at the moment who is still out on track. All the top 4 in the garage. So yeah, I guess we'll stick with the James until the end of the lap. He's got 2 slow corners to navigate now before getting on the power for the long main straight. Well, that is the only long straight on the circuit, really. This straight is coming on to now. Has he done enough to improve from the P5 that he's holding at the moment? Only 2/10 of pole, as I'm seeing someone has moved up to 2nd place. Hesto, is that?
Hesto,
as James has not improved, unfortunately, but Hesto up to P2 right at the end of the session.
Oh, look at that. He's actually managed to get in between Perry Gronstra. Bear in mind, Perry Gronstra is 27 thousandths off of pole, and he's got in between pole and that with 22 thousandths.
Unbelievably close. Yep, so you're seeing the qualifying order on the left side of the screen at the moment. Vernix has taken pole for the first AOR GT3 Elite League race on Project Cars 2. Unless Wycombs and Andrex has done something that we can't actually see, because they are still listed at the bottom, even though they might well have done a better time than that because of that thing we mentioned earlier on. But as it stands, Vernix is on pole ahead of Hesto on his debut in the league. Very, very impressive from him. Gronstra in 3rd after holding pole for quite a while. Johan, also another very fast guy, in 4th place. And here we are going to jump straight into the grid here for the first round of the season.
3 of the top 6 are new entrants into this league as well.
Yeah, wow.
So I noticed. So Hester, well, again, assuming that Andrex and hold on a second. I just noticed something. So that's where Wycombs and Andrex actually qualified. 21st for Wycombs, 22nd for Andrex. That will be the correct qualifying position. However, we will not see their progress properly through the race. There go the familiar countdown lights. We are, of course, ignoring them. And the parade lap will begin.
So it's always scary when these procedures start as to whether anyone will accidentally move off the line.
Yeah, fly off the line. Yeah.
Smash into someone.
First time I took part in a race that had this manual rolling start, I found myself just as nervous starting that as I did from a standing start. So, even despite the fact that you know full well that you're not going to fly off the line, there's still that build-up of tension. The adrenaline's kicking in, and you've got no immediate release for it.
Yeah.
You're sort of like, let me go!
That is the feeling indeed. I assume a lot of these guys will be a mix of emotions, really. Some will be nervous, some will be excited to get the action going, some will be, just very focused, and some might be a mix of all of the above.
Well, indeed. There's a lot of unknowns here. Of course, like I mentioned before, we have a decent array of new names in this particular league that we can only base their performance up to this point on time trials and evaluation races. We haven't seen their performance in a full, league race situation where there's points on the line. So we don't know. Not everybody handles the pressure particularly well. I can speak from a little bit of experience in that regard. I did take part in an AOR league. I managed to be a race winner and disqualified from a race in the same season. So
so did I actually in Formula Renault 3.5 league actually.
That was my
disqualification.
That was my first commentary. That was my first commentary actually for AOR.
And that was a disqualification that cost me the championship. But enough about that. The drivers are now coming onto the main straight, lining up into 2x2. Lovely stuff so far. And Vernux on pole position will be the man to decide when now to put his foot down to start Season 8 of the AOR PC GT3 Elite League. It could be any time. Currently watching Johan on board on his front bumper. And it's always hard for the guy in P2 to react to the guy in P1 going. And here we go. You can see Vernux pulling away. Yeah, Hester, to be honest, considering he is in P2 and has to look left to see when the leader goes, that was a decent launch. But the guy in P3, which would be Gronstra at the moment, is having a little look up inside, but it looks like the top 3 are staying, as they are Johan as well, keeping P4. But yeah, James in P5, a little bit under pressure from Popsu at the moment.
Not noticing any major gaps forming in this particular field, which would indicate that everybody has behaved themselves as well. Popsy there was a tiny gap forming there between himself and James, but all seems to be working pretty well so far. I'm watching the stream of cars at the back. Doesn't look like any major incidents, so we would expect the pack to be pretty closely compact for a while. There are several major braking zones that litter this track, so there could well be some attempts for the lead or any kind of overtake at the moment, but we will see. Look how close Johan is to Perry Gronstra. That Ferrari is all over the back of that red Mercedes.
Definitely is, and of course, yeah, you mentioned the braking zones. We got full damage enabled in this league, so these guys will want to be pushing hard and getting positions, but they also have to be very careful not to damage their car, especially at this early stage. You don't want to be carrying a big amount of damage and be forced to do a pit stop, because based on what I've heard anyway, most of the drivers will be running the hard compound tire, especially as the track temperature is pretty hot, and they should be easily lasting the full race distance. As Johan, oh, it looked like he was very late on the brake there, and it did go a little bit deep, actually putting 2 wheels on the grass, but he still managed to have keep a decent amount of speed. And well, you mentioned I was going to be close based on qualifying. It definitely looks like it's going to be close, and so far, after the first lap, the top 7 still basically inside each other, as Gronstra is still pressuring Hester on his debut here into turn 1.
Oh, that's deep for Hester. That's going to compromise him through Chicago and Tabarella. He has managed to keep that to himself. Perry Gronstra is a very, very wise and experienced driver. He will know not to push too hard too soon. That Ferrari of Vernus has not been able to sprint off too far at the moment, but looking behind, there's Johan again, keeping that pressure on the red Mercedes at the moment, and right with him is James in the blue Ferrari. If I just cut to him, there he is. But he has got Popsu right there in that Kaspersky coloured Ferrari. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6 in very, very short succession. Vernus now having the opportunity to try and break away, but he's not even a second ahead of the car in front of car behind him at the moment. So is he taking his time? He doesn't really need to do too much tyre preservation with these hard tyres. The softer tyres just burn out way, way too fast in this particular circuit. So the hard tyre is the only option available.
That was Popsu having some problems there with the staying inside the track limits through the Aqua Minerale section, but he's still hanging on to the back of this train, and it looks so clumsy over the curb on the chicane there. It's such a slow and awkward corner, that chicane, and you know, the cars just concertina so much. Get very close together. Still though, no contact. Johan again, getting super close to ground, just piling on the pressure on the Mercedes. So that seems to be struggling a little bit in the corner. Certainly, the top or the 2 Mercedes drivers falling a little bit off Vernix at the moment, who has a 1 second lead as he stands. But you can see, is that Stu has had a problem? He's dropped. It was a 6-car train, but it's now a 5-car train.
Yeah, we've lost our Kaspersky coloured Ferrari. I'm not actually sure where he's gone. There he is. He's down. Didn't actually see the incident. He just magically vanished. He's down in 11th. So what I reckon he's done, he's overshot Ravazza, and there doesn't appear to be any damage on the car. It's so easy to do. If he's locked up into Ravazza, you can go quite a long way off of that particular segment. You're approaching it pretty damn hard. So that is what I reckon he's done. Vernux is now just about beginning to get a bit of a rhythm going. He's nearly a second ahead, and Stu's having to be careful. I think he had a warning just pop up there.
Yeah, because actually on my graphic overlay, Stu's position number just turned red.
Yeah.
So does that mean it's got a warning then?
I think that is what the red indicates.
Interesting. Yeah, let's now go on board with Popsu as we head into the final couple of corners. Popsu looking to the inside a little bit, probably just showing the front of his car in the mirrors. Oh, that's not going to help his exit. That's very much on the grass. That's going to be poor traction out of there. That's completely ended his chance, at least on this occasion, to get past Godfather or Shift.
Vernos has made a mistake somewhere. He's lost the time. Oh, Hesto has that actually put Perry completely out of his stride as well. The two Mercedes side by side. That's going to give Johan and James an opportunity to really put the pressure on. Perry Gronster had to back out of that, and that actually gave Vernox a bit more breathing space. I think Vernox made a mistake because he'd lost about 4/10 very, very suddenly. He's now gained about a second and a half. Now that's Johan that's having a look on Perry Gronster.
Oh, there's contact!
Inside. Oh, that's going to send Johan wide, which it does. A bit of a counter nudge going on there. We get to the chase cam. We can see how close those two Ferraris are. James has got the inside line. And another...
Oh my God, that's close again.
Did James spin? No, he didn't. He managed to hang on to it, but that's Johan that's back in that position. Another red number is actually Nismo. He went way off at Pitotella, so that's not going to help him. I think he would have had a slowdown penalty as a result of that. So Nismo making it as a mistake there in that tiger-coloured Ferrari. He's actually got Maisie, one of the few Audis in the race, has gone through in 8th position. Jeff, we see him just ahead of the shop. There he is in the Mercedes, keeping the pressure on Stu in the lead McLaren.
Yeah, God, that was some intense stuff between Johan and James, and all sort of started by Hester just losing the back end, and that has given Vernox a great opportunity now to pull away. 2.5 seconds now he's got, as these four guys are still very much going at it. Hester might be under pressure, I guess, from Gronstra, who seems to be getting a run up there. Not sure how much slipstream these cars are given at the moment, but Gronstra looks to be pointing his cars to the inside, but isn't quite close enough on this occasion to go for the move on P2. And that's an interesting line through turn 1. We won't mention that any further. A Mercedes versus a McLaren. We've seen some of those battles before. I like seeing those cars going. That seems to be problematic stuff in the gravel. Oh! One guy has completely stopped there.
It's Perry. He's having to wait for a spot to come back on. Oh, that's disastrous for the red Mercedes. We did hear he's now going to give himself a better line to come back on the circuit. There he goes. Should have done that quite a bit earlier. The benefit of hindsight. Down to 16th. What a disaster for the elite veteran.
It's just, I hate to say it, but it is classic Perry Gronstra. Driving extremely fast, but then getting caught up in an incident. It's happened time and time again for him throughout his time in these leagues. And obviously, it's always a shame to see. We didn't see what caused it, though, really. There seemed to have been some contact with that Ferrari of Johan.
Well, I think because Johan is now down in 6th position, my assumption then is that Johan and Perry came to grief. Oh, what a dive on the inside of Tozer for the red Ferrari. Can he keep it ahead of the McLaren? He does. Jeff is now at the 4th. He's dislodged that McLaren as well. So we'll see if Jeff is able to make some progress as Stu is trying to get back into that position he's just lost at the Pitotella, but it doesn't quite come off for him. So can Jeff now start to get into attacking the podium 3? But what we're also going to see is whether Hesto in 2nd position can close in on Vernox.
It looks like he's got a very good run, though, out of the final corner onto the long main straight. Is he going to have enough straight line speed, though, in that Ferrari to catch the Mercedes? It doesn't look like it at all. That SLS is a monster on the straight. It's pulling away even massively, despite Johan having that slipstream effect, or a little bit of it, you would have thought anyway. Closing back up in the corner, though, but yeah, no chance for a move. Yeah, let's see how they navigate that. That's a big clunk on the first curve there for Johan. Seems to have got a really good exit, though, staying within the track limits as well. And this is really... Look at this! It's ridiculous! He doesn't have a chance. Jeff still feeling the need, though, to go defensive there. Maybe feeling that Johan might have taken the opportunity to dive if he had gotten it. But now I expect we'll see a similar story. Johan is very, very close onto the straight. But if the previous lap is anything to go by, you can see it already, Jeff is going to pull away. And this means that Johan is going to be incredibly frustrated, because he really has to find somewhere else to make that pass.
That just shows you how much he's having to concentrate on the...
Oh, that's a bad exit, though. Here we go, side by side. Coming down into the final couple of corners. Will he be able to stay there though? As Epico, no, Mercedes pulls back ahead. Johan has to make this move on the brakes. And again, Jeff defending the inside line. Johan's going to try to go around the outside. Is he going to be left room? Yes, just about. Can't see if he stayed on the track there. But he's still on the outside of the Mercedes as they come onto the main straight. What a move. Double around the outside of those two corners. Incredible stuff. But is the Mercedes going to get back past him here with a straight line speed? He's moved to the inside line. And look at that. In the space of a few seconds. Johan has no chance to defend, and he might even be overtaken there by the McLaren of Stu. Again, he's going to be forced to go defensive, moves back over to the racing line there. Luckily, Stu didn't try to go around the outside, and somehow, after all of that, they are still in the position they were originally.
Yeah, you could just feel Johan. He knew he had no answer. The start finish straight is so wide.
Oh my goodness!
Is that Nismo? It is. As Nismo's got it all wrong at the Villeneuve chicane. He's lost a whole bucket load of time. There you see Godfather of Shift is actually leading a bit of a train in that Porsche. That is Maisie in the Audi. Popsu in that Ferrari. He's not been able to gain much time from that earlier mistake. That's Yorkie in the lead M6. BMW's not having a particularly good time here. There is the lone lemon Ferrari, a Lamborghini, I beg your pardon, of Nick Mido. Gives an opportunity. And we have our first pit stop. And there it is. It's the minty flavoured M6 of Tipple.
That can't be scheduled. Lap 10 out of 34 here. It's an hour-long race. We have not got more than 50 minutes.
Damaged. It doesn't look particularly damaged.
No, it's visually seems quite fine, I must say. But I can't see any other reason why we'd go into the pits if not for damage, unless he somehow managed to underfuel the car. Yeah, I think Nismo might have had a problem, by the way. I saw him dropping a couple of positions there. He's now behind Yorkie, who's moved up into the top 10. But we are again looking at Johan and Stu side by side into the first corner. Same story though as last time. Johan defends, but I'm sure that Johan, in his mind, definitely would rather be on the attack on Jeff here.
Raigor is in that.
I think I saw Wycombs between them actually. So
I was just realised that there's a Porsche we didn't allocate. Yeah, so well spotted there, Fizzy. So that actually puts Wycombs. Where did we say that?
Wait, is that? Oh, that's a Ferrari.
No! That's Nismo. That is Nismo falling through the field.
Oh, he's having a disaster these last few laps.
Oh dear, oh dear. He's now down to 18th. Or suspected 18th. That's at the 19th, I think. The only person I hadn't spotted where he was this man, Andres. Oh, that's where he is.
Oh, he's right ahead of Wycombs, actually. Yeah. So those two guys we can't see on our timings are actually right next to each other on the track, and that would be.
That's right behind Nick Meader. That's 16th, 17th, 18th, and Tipple's out of position there. He's actually a lap down because he pitted from last position in that minty coloured M6. We have another pit. It's Clarson's. See, I'm notified immediately by a pit indicator. I think you see the same thing when that pit indicator come up. As we see, Johan really keeping that pressure on. But as we'll see yet again.
I really feel for Johan here. I really do, actually.
You can't help it. We've been looking at him for quite a while, but it's the same story. He reels the Mercedes in, and then the Mercedes runs off again. Then reels the Mercedes in. It sounds awfully reminiscent of real-life Formula 1 as well in some respects.
It does, doesn't it?
Not necessarily with Mercedes being reeled in, but you have that same... Oh, Johan didn't go through Trigado too particularly well. But that same concept where someone is quicker in the corners but just can't quite overcome the car in front that's better in the straights.
Yeah, you can just see, like, Johan is... I'm not going to say driving better because, obviously Jeff might be restricted in his corners because of the car. But, if you put that aside, Johan is clearly driving faster through these corners, and he's doing pretty much everything he can to get close to Jeff, but he just can't make the move stick as long as that Mercedes has that advantage that it has once they put their foot down on the gas. So all he can do really is just keep putting the pressure on, and obviously the more pressure he puts on, the higher is the chance of Jeff making a mistake. But halfway through the race and Jeff has not blinked once, it seems.
Hideaki is still right with. That's actually Groby directly ahead. He's going to have a look on the inside at Anti-Alta. No, he's decided better on that. Those curbs are vicious at that particular chicane, so people need to think twice before trying to jump over them. And Mickersby is in a pretty decent battle with his own teammate, or a similarly coloured Ferrari. And that is actually already, though 7105 already ahead of him. So that's 16th position they're battling for. Those are your main battles at the moment.
Might be relatively close together through the chicane there. Yeah, indeed. The Audi basically pushing the Porsche through. I'm not sure how these cars match up on straight line speed. Let's have a look then. Hideaki tucking in underneath. Will Groby go defensive here into the final couple of corners? He will not, but he's leaving room. Oh, he's running a little bit wide. That is a bit of door banging as well. Hideaki taking that inside line for the final corner. Groby forced to back out of it as Hideaki runs out wide on the exit. Did he get a good enough exit there to fight back? I think Hideaki has gotten that move done for 12th place.
Half a second, bizarrely. So maybe Klaas has wanted an extra bit of the challenge. He's now going to have a look at that is Mickersby and Rilo in their two Ferraris. He's nailed one of them. Did wonder for a second whether he was going to try and jump past Rilo on the entrance to Trigado, but decided against it. But God, that Mercedes is just frighteningly quick.
Oh, that's a slide as well. We are used to seeing this, but I thought I'd just point out as well, actually, as we were watching briefly there, the battle for 16th position in the race, and that is a point system, of course, same as last season. I think some of the points towards the top end of the scale have been adjusted slightly, but it's still the top 16 in the race that will score championship points. So the battle for 16th is a battle for 1 championship points, and it goes up from there, obviously. As I see on my score that Groby has dropped down. Oh my goodness me, that's massive damage to the front of that Porsche. And to the rear.
Yes, so he did. Well, I think he had a little bit of rear damage to start with, but I would suspect he's going to come into the pits. He may well retire as a result of that damage. And those points you mentioned, Fizzy, are very, very crucial on the short season that we have. Goodness me, yet again, Yuhan getting all out of shape. Goodness me. We've lost Worn Tyre.
Oh.
We have lost Worn Tyre as well. Of course, our timing shows these two as last, but actually we've got no one else near them, so we don't know what position they're in.
Yeah. So that's a good point, actually. We are watching the battle between Andrex and Wycombs. They are going side by side now for position X in this race. We have no clue where they are. These are the two guys that don't show up, but they're going side by side. Some good battling. They're a bit of wheel banging, but I think it's all fair at the moment. Wycomb's going to have the outside into Aqua Minerale there. Andrex trying to hang on, keeping the speed through the corner, forcing Wycombs to back out of that one as they come up the hill now. And towards the very slow chicane. Andrex flashing his lights in celebration, I think, to hang on to that position.
Or maybe he knew we were watching him, so he's actually saying hello to us.
Yeah, might be watching the stream at the same time, in which case it's pretty impressive, I would say.
Very impressive.
Welcome, so getting a decent exit. Okay, yeah. Not surprised really there. Guess it might be worth just popping back up to Vernex quickly, just to see sort of how he's coming along. He's done a 144.9 last lap, 144.940 actually, as he's lapping that AI car, which is all over the place at the moment. Hopefully it doesn't get in the way of Hesto. I was just going to point out quickly, last lap 144.940 for Vernex. For Hesto it was 144.942. 2,000 separating them. Let's see what it is on this time around. Vernex improves to 44.6. Hesto does a 144.7, so slightly slower, but these guys are running incredibly close.
48.7. He lost.
Oh wait! Oh yeah, it just updated again.
Because you can see now James is right with him. We can now have a battle for that next. I think he got put off by that rogue Porsche.
Yeah, it could be. That's lagging all over the place as well. I wonder if the drivers are seeing the same as we do. That could definitely cause some problems.
Well, we've had it before, and you had this in one of the test races we did, where there were drivers you couldn't see.
Yeah.
Oh, James! Oh,
out of nowhere! No, that's opportunistic.
Yeah, into Toza. Goodness me, very nicely done, very clean as well. And that's in the background there. That was Jeff and Yuhan. So it's nice to have a different battle at the front to look at, if I'm quite honest. But it's good that Yuhan is still hanging on to the back of Jeff after all this time.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, James has done a good job to sort of keep the relative pace of the top two, even though he was several seconds behind. So, oh my goodness! I commentator cursed him. I'm very sorry. That's a huge impact with the wall, just getting loose on the curb on the exit of the final corner. Big smack on the front for James. He's chosen not to go into the pit lane. Probably wants to stay out. Well, there's too little left in the race anyway, really. Might as well try to stay out and see what the damage is like. Try to nurse his car to the end, but he's dropped down to P6 now after looking on course for at least a podium. That is gutting for James on his debut race in the league. But still no end for his frustrations with that Mercedes. Of course, this now is the battle for a podium position. It's even more important than it was before. Jeff will be laughing at the moment at being gifted a chance at the podium all of a sudden, because both these guys were way off the top 3 before until James had that mistake coming out of the corner that these guys are just coming into now. And once again, nothing doing for Johan, who will be sighing extremely hard at the side of a straight.
Perry Grunstraight is getting very close to Maisie, so each time we look at Perry, he has been slowly reeling in the cars ahead. And Maisie has got that Porsche rear wing right with him as well. So can Perry Grunstraight claim 2 positions here? Oh no, big button is Godfather Shift, Maisie and Perry Grunstraight. I'm reading the chart slightly wrong. Pops is actually fallen off the back of this particular field. Now this surely is an opportunity. That's the wrong camera. Oh, he's going to nail the Audi. Oh, is he going to get the Porsche as well?
Oh, he's going to go for both at the same time. Look at this straight line speed there from the Mercedes again, braking early though. That was a bit too close to the corner. I thought he might have gone for a double there, but
oh dear. Big old tank slapper on the entrance of Chicago. He managed to hang on to it and keep Maisie behind him. Oh, Maisie having a look at the inside for Villeneuve. The size better of that one. I'm actually really surprised Perry didn't go for that. He clearly had the speed. Maybe he wasn't certain that Godfather would actually give him the necessary room. I mean, Godfather was defending fairly. Another one that's for another battle that's forming is your beloved Lemon Lamborghini.
Oh yes,
Nick Mido is on the back of
Come on,
Lambo.
I will. I don't like to be, subjective in my opinions about who I cheer for in these races. As a commentator, professional commentator as I try to be, but I kind of have to give a little love to the Lambo. I was hoping to see it on the grid. Nick Mido saved me. So, come on, get that position.
James is the only Lambo out there. I do know what you mean. There are sometimes a car that you just have a particular soft spot for. It looked like Nick Mido went a little bit wide there, Ravazza, but continuing that push. It's all going to really be down. Can Godfather fend off that Mercedes? Surely not, but yeah, we'll see.
Oh, Grunstraight, don't do it here. Just wait for the straight. You're in a Mercedes, for God's sake.
Let's actually get on board with Mr. Grunstraight. We saw how hard he blasted past the Audi. He's going to do the same again on the Porsche. Surely Godfather just knows he's not going to have an answer. Oh my God, he left that late.
Oh, nearly turned into him as well on the straight there, but all is good. Porsche staying alongside though into turn 1. Oh, and going a little bit deep as well, just about managing to leave him a bit of touching there, and somehow Grunstraight has not made the moves. The Godfather shift, having none of that, braking a little bit later and being just about forceful enough through the first few corners to keep that position. Really impressive defensive, actually.
Another battle. We are going to mention this man Johan again, but look who's right behind him.
Oh yeah,
it's Headstone.
Oh,
so we've had a shuffle at the front with the we hadn't spotted Jeff.
Problem, yeah.
Headstone's had a problem because Jeff is now in second in his Mercedes with Johan right now up to third. So
and
those two
Stu in the mix as well now.
Yeah, Stu is right on the back. So we've got a 4-way chain going on here. We've got this battle with Godfather, and now James is right there as well. This could actually allow Maisie to catch back up with this. We've got less than 5 laps to go and 2 4-car trains going on.
It's just like you said, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it always comes to life at the end of the race. We've got 4.5 laps to go, and that's a big slide there at the chicane for Godfather shift. Grunstraight, surely that's a free opportunity for that Mercedes engine down the straight into the double left-hand complex. And there we go, defending just to make sure as well, and he does slow it down for the corner, and luckily for him there is a straight as well coming up. So let's see. I think it's more of a case now of seeing how much speed that Mercedes will gain on the Ferrari of James up ahead as we go down the straight, because he's actually already closer to the Ferrari than he is to being challenged again from Godfather shift.
Oh my god, you could see the lack of pace of that Ferrari as
oh,
defended though. I mean, he's perfectly entitled to, but you could see how much pace James has lost. I mean, the timings alone tell you that, but that was a visual representation of how much speed that Ferrari has lost due to that damage at the front. Oh, there's been a change up here as well. Stu has fallen off the back of Johan, and Hesto's down to 5th.
Stu's gone past Hesto, so Hesto's having some unknown problems at the moment. It's
What a shame.
3 things we haven't really seen that is dropping down the order.
Oh, there's been a change here as well. That's going to be James losing to Perry Gronstra.
Still
he's
defending with that potentially slightly damaged Ferrari. He's doing a really good job of holding on here, considering the amount of time that he's dropped in the last few laps. And Gronstra, obviously this is not the best section for the Mercedes. He might just have to stay patient through here, but also be wary of Godfather shift. You know, he's probably looking to take any opportunity if he's offered one here. If Gronstra gets a poor exit. Let's see now how they navigate the chicane. Always awkward with those massive sausage curb on the apexes. And Gronstra, a little wiggle there, I think, but still all good for him. So onto the straight. What will happen?
Well, I would imagine that James is going to be an absolute sitting duck along this start-finish straight. If we head onto the roof of the Mercedes, surely this is going to be a very simple maneuver. You've got that really weird gravity noise going on in the Mercedes.
Yeah.
And there we go. They haven't even crossed the line. And that is a move for Perry Gronstra then. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if Godfather has a think about it as well on James heading into Trogado. No, not close enough. But what I want to check out is what's gone on up here. Johan has suddenly lost the person he was chasing.
What? Stu keeps magically gaining possessions. That's the 3rd time it's happened now.
I forgot, who was it that Johan's been chasing all race long?
He's been chasing Jeff. Yeah,
it was Jeff.
First for 4th, then for 3rd, and then for 2nd. But now he's down to 4th, and yeah, he's dropped 5 seconds, or 4 or 5 seconds compared to where he was. So yeah, he's also had a mistake going on off camera. It's always obviously hard for us to catch everything because we have no idea when drivers are going to make individual driving errors. So not really any chance for us to catch all of these. But yeah, Johan definitely has had some kind of issue there. We have a side-by-side here though, definitely inside the points. This is for 7th place at the moment. Godfather just trying to make that move on the slow-moving Ferrari of James at the moment, and that is also a pretty simple on the straight move for the Porsche this time. And Macy close behind. Oh, that's lost him. I was going to say James going to be put under pressure from Macy. I didn't have time to commentate to curse him even before he made a mistake. And Macy now still a lap and a half to go, but I think with that gap, even if the Ferrari is damaged, I might be what has lost him another position. 4 guys in the top 4 have that red position number, which we think might be a penalty. But let's see, as actually now out of the final corner comes our race leader. He's gone from pole to flag after getting that break early on. Vernex is going to win the first race of the AOR PC GT3 Elite League in Season 8.
Big old flash of light celebration to yourselves, and why the devil not? 2nd place goes to Jeff, and he flashes the light. He's happy with that. Stu in pretty well-deserved 3rd place as well. Johan pushed as hard as he could. He comes home 4th. Hesto sure is a little bit disappointed, but will take that 5th place. Perry Gronstra, as previously mentioned, probably begrudgingly takes. Did a 1:44.0 on that very last lap as
what
well.
a lap that is. Good comeback to him. Fair play, at least for that part.
Godfather of Shift in the Porsche coming home 7th. 8th is James in that limping Ferrari. 9 is Maisie in the Audi. 10, Popsu, Kaspersky coloured Ferrari. 11. Oh, look at that, Yorkie!
Oh! Yorkie under pressure for 11th place, coming towards the line. The Lambo of Nick Meadow challenging him. Does it have the straight line speed? Oh, it's closing, but I think they're past it now. Was that? Oh, is that the line?
No,
Nick Meadow's taking it.
Yorkie too early.
Oh
Yorkie
no!
gave up too early. Oh no, he gave up. He saw where the line was, but that's the start line, not the finish line. They're in 2 different spots. Oh no, Yorkie will be kicking himself over that one.
Oh my God.
Ferrari gained a position at the end, was gifted that. He's happy with that. Yorkie finishes in 12th. He's sat there in disgust. Rigor is there in the Mercedes 13. Hideaki is, I thought I heard someone hit the wall at the end. He's buried that Audi in the wall in 14th, along with E. Claassen. He's had a horrible day in the office in 15th position. Rorido is still on the track, actually being chased, as he has been all race long, by Mickersby. Those two Ferraris coming home, 16, 17. And there they come then. There is Andreas Hayter. Oh, pretty much haven't seen him all race long. Oh, beg your pardon, that's the second Kaspersky Keller Ferrari. And Zasby is, or I think he must have been a lap down as he's buried out there somewhere. And the only two we don't know, these two M6s, which seem to be...
They're having fun.
What? Okay, what?
Of course. Yeah, of course. We don't know where Wycombs and Andrex are actually placed here. They're still showing us the last two for us. They might well be inside the points for all we know. I don't think they're far inside the points, but we'll try to get an answer on that one before the end of the stream. Here, though, is the official results. You've gone through most of it already. 8 seconds the gap from Vernix out to Jeff, after Vernix basically was the only driver in the whole race to not have any sort of problems or battling going on whatsoever. Jeff, really solid race for him. Didn't make a single mistake to take second place. Stu, a debut podium for him. The only debutants who got onto the podium, and Johan Hesto in the top 5, Gronstra, Godfather Shift, James, Maisie, Nick Miro, top 10, Yorkie, Nick Miro, top 10, so someone's been moved down with a penalty, potentially.
It'll be penalties, yeah, it will be...
I'm sure.
No.
Yeah, not really sure.
And that 1:44.0 from Perry Gronstra was indeed the fastest lap of the race.
Wow, right at the end. Not bad. But yeah, we have indeed finished all the action for the first out of the 6 rounds that we have in this Season 8 of the AOR GT3 Leagues. The first season on the new Project Cars 2 game. And I have to say, yeah, like you mentioned, it was a very good race. He had that little dead period in the middle, as many GT3 races actually often do. But at the start, a lot of battling. At the end, a lot of battling. And I think it sets off the season in a reasonable way, at least for most drivers, of course, some of them being quite unlucky with issues there at the back. But I'm certainly looking forward to the next 5 rounds. Going to quickly check, actually, unless you remember what track we are at next week.
I didn't remember, but I've already checked. It is going to be a Mercedes Stronghold. It is Spa.
But yeah, at the end of the day, Vernix off to the best start here in the season. Jeff and Stu also on the podium, and Johan close behind. So, Chris, it's been a pleasure having you along in the commentary box.
It's been a great honour to be alongside the legend of Fizzy. I look forward to the season to come.
Yeah, indeed. So, thanks very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the action, and of course, next Wednesday we will be back at the same time, around 8 PM UK time, assuming no delays, and that will be for the Circuit de Spa Francorchamps. Hope you'll join us again, and good night.
Good night.